Right.
There was time in my life saying that I will never speak this language. But here I am. I moved to Finland for the future of my two boys back then. I lost my custody to my two boys because I trusted. I trusted that.
Of all the episodes I'm going to have, I don't think there's going to be a bigger compelling reason than this one. That, I lost the custody of the kids because of that's massive.
Meet Anita Anttila, who arrived in Finland nearly 30 years ago, before Google Translate, Duolingo, or social media. As a young mother, navigating a new country, new language, and unimaginable personal challenges, all while trying to hold her family together. In today's episode, Anita opens up about the hard-earned lessons, small daily habits, and the emotional resilience it took to truly integrate into Finnish society. Her story is raw, real, and inspiring, and prove that fluency isn't just about learning a language, but it's also about connecting.
All right. So, welcome to this episode of How I Learned Finnish with R. Today, I am here with a special guest, my first interview that I'm going to do. And I've known her since like
Little
forever.
boy.
Yeah, since I was a kid. I've known her since I was a kid. Back then I didn't realize the whole thing that I'm doing. But then now that I grew up and I was thinking like, who can I interview for this? And it was like, you came to mind immediately. And then I was like, hey, let me call my mom and ask who else she knows that. Well, because you know my mom as well.
Yes.
Yeah. So, and without further ado, can you tell us what is your name? Let's start with, what is your name?
Hi, I'm Anita Anttila. So Anttila came from the marriage. And I've been in Finland like for 29, almost 30 years. But soon we're dead. And as a housewife once, but now working all of those years and having children and family.
And maybe you mentioned a little bit already, but how does Finland show up in your life story? Like what brought you here? Oh, you already said how long you've been, but how does Finland show up in your life story?
Oh, yeah. I was married with a Finnish man in Indonesia. And we lived in Indonesia after our marriage until my children, back then, my boys, until they are turned to 5 and 7 years old. And we moved to Finland in that age. And through marriage, of course, I came to Finland. And I found it like challenging, but decision was I who made. So I accept everything that comes along with that.
As in, like you made the
I made the decision consciously.
Right. Yeah.
Without any force or any coerce or anything. I moved to Finland for the future of my two boys back then.
And since then, there's been at least Julia that I know.
Julia came along after many years back.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So what prompted you, or what caused you to learn the Finnish language? Like, was there like a specific turning point or some specific need that pushed you to learn Finnish?
Yeah, 1996, it was a very, you can imagine Finland like almost 30 years ago, not so many immigrants yet everywhere. English was not familiar yet with people. And my extended family back then, from my husband back then, they were all Finnish speaking. No one speaking English.
Okay.
No other words.
Okay.
And we moved to the very small town near Seinäjoki, like a 2,500 population.
Yeah.
I moved there. And since then, I tried very hard how to learn Finnish because in Finland, they have this integration program. So before I got into that program, I was learning with the dictionary, which is not very good. It's not healthy. But you try your best. That's still not healthy. And but after 6 months later, less than 1 year, I got into the integration for program for 6 months, and then also included Finnish language, learning about the social right as a residents, or the same right like people who are also citizens. They taught in this integration, and there I learned the first time, the first parts of the Finnish language by grammatical.
Wow. So 30 years ago, basically. 29 years.
29, yeah.
Yeah. And back then they already have the integration programs with the
Already.
courses. Okay.
Already.
Okay. So I feel like you have a very unique perspective on what's changed now, but I'll get into that a bit later.
Okay.
Okay. So you move here, you move to Seinäjoki with your partner, your husband back then. And yeah, then you joined this integration program, and also like nobody really spoke English back then.
No.
So,
no.
but before you joined the integration program after like after the first 6 months.
7 months or after, because it takes time.
Yeah.
To
But how
reach.
were you like managing before?
Shopping, in the supermarket, I only go to the price, and then the look. Oh, this is chicken, because no one can say chicken. It's always like the Finnish language, broiler,
Right.
or pork. Pork is like sianliha, porsanliha,
Right.
something like that. So vegetables, I don't have to read anything, only by the physical looks. So yeah, I mean, shopping or something like that. But the only thought that I didn't do the first year before that integration, cannot communicate with people.
Yeah.
You feel like you see people,
Yeah.
but like you see nothing and you hear nothing because you don't communicate.
Yeah.
You only see some movement.
That must have been rough.
In a way, yeah, in a way. But I think because I was too busy to think how should I manage? So I have no time to think. It was heavy. There is no time to think about it.
I mean, because you have 2 kids.
I have 2 children to take care of, and they are also become very restless because nobody understood us.
Right. Oh,
Something.
true. Yeah. For them as well. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's not yet having time for thinking that I am in the difficulties or I am having great challenge.
Yeah.
It's about adjusting still.
Very interesting. And like, how did you feel though? Like, first, I feel like it probably has a like emotional toll on you as well. That there are people there, but you can't really interact with them. And then also the kids are also kind of having difficulty at school probably because how did that feel?
Well, my mother-in-law back then, she continued speaking Finnish with me.
Sure.
And my husband back then, he traveled a lot. And there's no help from him because I have to always like, I took my dictionary and I say, I want to eat. Well, I will use all the verbs.
So like, you go to the dictionary and you're like, Siada.
like you said, I want to eat. Mina, everything verbs,
Yeah.
Will is in the aikoa, aiko.
Yeah.
Aikoa.
Yeah.
Mina aikoa syödä.
Siada. Right.
All the verbs. Because and thank God, the Finns are very kind,
Yeah.
especially them. They don't laugh at me.
Very important.
They will try very hard to get what I want.
Yeah.
Syödä, because there is in the real language you have to say syö,
Right.
eat, want to eat. You will say that haluan, yeah.
Yeah.
But then you say halua syödä. So every verb's all together.
Right.
So that's the way I survived my first year.
That is crazy. But yeah, that's like also it. Somebody was telling me the other day. I saw a thing where it's like when you're being resilient, the resilience is like a cool word. But when you're being resilient, it does not look nice at all. When you're going through the struggle, it's like, but like, it's always worship. Like, oh, you went through the struggle and you did the thing. But in the moment, no, it was not fun at all. It's not fun at all. Yeah. But okay, so walk me a bit through like the learning journey. Like, what kind of things worked and what didn't?
Yeah, I realized after my integration Finnish course, I was using the mindset of English way of grammatical, the grammar. And during all the time that I use that method, it's very difficult for me to be penetrated with Finnish language. Because all the time I'm thinking about how that words is built, how that words is translated or implemented.
Yeah.
But it's very wrong because Finnish language has its own change of in every word, in time and in every situation. There's a plural situation, there is a singular situation, there is a singular situation. There is not just plural and singular, but it's also there is repetitions situation. So all of this you cannot get them just through the course.
Right.
It's from the interaction talking with people. So I found out after my course time, I'm getting better. I get it. Like I can use to say the simple words like minahaluan syuada. I have already said that correctly. And then, but to be able, because some people very good with the grammatic, with all of this level of the grammatical rules, and everything that you understand, like active and all of this ablative, this kind of stuff,
Yeah.
But for me, I was not very interested to know too much because I will not write books. So when I become a writer, I really need to understand all of this language terminology. So I learned how to communicate myself and convey my thoughts, my understanding with the not confusing way. That's the grammatical for me.
Right.
And then I learned also to forget the English mindset because it's completely two different things.
Right.
Yes, there is the yesterday, the past tense.
Yeah.
But completely different way like English past tense.
Right.
Because these two things that I realized. And then I learned also by reading newspaper. So by listening to talk with people and then reading like this free newspapers.
Back then,
Reading
Metro.
I'm just reading how I want to see how that language is actually going, because the newspaper language is always correct.
Ah, yes.
They are correct communicatively and correct with the grammatical. So when I'm reading that, that's the way to change that. It's changed because I can understand, but completely different. The verbs changing to become different. Like when you say menna, let's go, is menna. That's the like an order, like that.
Yeah.
But then you say mentava, that's from menna, mentava. Oh, this means I have to go. Then you say from the same word, menetet. That's already changed again, It's gone. You cannot catch it anymore. and then he's going to say mennessä, and on my way to go,
Right.
So all of this coming, I didn't realize when I learned from the time of my Finnish course. I learned it by reading the newspaper, listening to the news, and talking with people,
So like in practice.
like in practice. And then I think in my 6th year, I start reading a novel book.
Oh, wow. In year 6 already.
Yeah, because in my 6 to 7 years.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
because somehow my comprehension grew of that words. That's the time when I said, I must forget all my English grammatical
With the rules and
implementation.
right.
So I become more immersed to Finnish way of. It's really true when you become, somehow you get into the Finnish characters.
Mhm.
This Finnish character, this language also, Finnish characters in it. The character. You only can experience it when you genuinely want to know.
Right.
When you genuinely willing to learn. In my case, I was very much in it. So because my family broken, so I become alone. I have to take care of all my official things by myself. It was like a reality needs also.
Yeah.
And you cannot depend on somebody else's interpretation for you.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah,
I
because then
think,
you're
yeah.
moving on their time as well.
Yeah.
And at which point did this happen? Which year?
I came 1996. I got divorced in 1999.
Okay.
After we got married, almost 10 years
Okay.
when we were coming here to Finland.
Okay.
And by then, in the first years, I was so much have to trust people interpretation from.
Yeah.
Until one time, it cost me a lot. That, for example, I lost my custody to my 2 boys because I trusted that I was giving the whole right of my children, my boys back then. And I didn't know that was the words it said there. I was a very big mistakes to just to trust.
Wait. So you were given the custody of the children, but then you didn't understand what it was saying.
We signed under the custody agreement of children,
Yeah.
but I did not understand it was mentioned there. Full custody is given. That's meaning I gave my right away.
Oh.
Exact.
Oh.
So you see, so big deal,
Yeah.
especially back then, not so much English
Yeah.
in the government office.
And there was no Google Translate as well.
And no, Google Translate is far, far, far away.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for that reason, then I started to know. I found out afterwards that
Yeah.
I have no right to complain anything about my boys because I leave them to the father
Right.
for the time that I'm looking job. I'm going to find job because in that small city was no job.
Right.
I have to go away to find job after 94. Yeah, because of that I really, really trying my best to speak this language.
Yeah. Would you say like that was like the turning point, or was there some other? I mean, you had already started trying to learn Finnish.
But to become fluent,
Right.
to become able to present yourself, it
Right.
is really that was the turning point.
Right.
From now on, I have to manage my affairs.
Yeah.
Because so many cases when something to do with children, you have to have communication all the time with the local authority.
Yeah.
Because children in this country are very protected.
Yeah. Which is good, I guess.
The local authority will always try to get everything fine, they will not have so much communication. But if the children are still under 16 years old, especially in the tender age, like an 8, 9, 10,
Yeah.
they are very completely into attention of the local authority.
I'm pretty sure of all the episodes I'm going to have, I don't think there's going to be a bigger compelling reason than this one, that I lost the custody of the kids because of the, that's massive.
Yeah, because you trust people, and because you have to trust people because you don't understand.
Yes, you don't have a choice there. Yeah.
This trust can be very damaging. But thank God I got my children back in 2002.
Great.
After 3 years.
Great.
But it is, no, it's never happened like that so often, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So, what resources did you use in the language journey? And were there any that surprised you how useful they are or how useless they are?
When I started to have a full-time job, I moved to Helsinki back then already. Then I got the 5 days working days. And then I start talking with people. I still have not communicated my Finns in the good way. That was already my 3rd year.
Helsinki. That was 3rd year. Okay.
My 3rd year, I moved to Helsinki.
Okay.
It's 1999, so sometime in summer. And then I thought, but maybe I'm not implementing the understanding of the grammatical base, and also my my vocabulary was not yet grown very much.
Right.
Because I didn't talk with people a lot. And when I was working, at work, I start to use my Finnish language. But many times my friend didn't understand. But this is the best part of the community of Finnish native. They don't love it.
Yeah.
They're so, what you call it? They are so kind.
Yeah.
They will so polite and thinking like this. Anita, try to. And they will say, can you tell in English? I don't get what you mean.
Right.
And then when I say, I say it like that. You mean da 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 da.
Then they will.
And then they will say that in the correct.
Okay.
So that's the way then I am become. I think after 1 year, I work 5 days a week and talking with people. I started to become, my language developed. My vocabulary developed.
Yeah.
And all that I thought about my understanding deepened my practice. And I also don't feel ashamed, even though not everybody understands.
Right.
That's encouraging me because people don't love it.
Right.
And that's when I was going to work and working with the native Finnish people.
What work were you doing at that?
I was already starting in the restaurant. I changed my line of working. Before I was in the office. When I came to Finland, I still have a 6-month internship office work, but no one cared for English speaking ability working office work back then.
Yeah.
So then I thought I must work, so I turned to restaurant line.
Okay.
Restaurant service. From that time until now.
Yes.
Still doing the same.
So in your case, the resources you used were like just speaking to people,
reading news, newspaper, and listening to TV.
Right.
And also involved with some people, with the people conversation.
Okay. Were there some methods that you found maybe somebody recommended or you heard about that you found like, this is quite useless?
Well, I think in my opinion back then, I will not so much, like I said at the beginning, I am never going to become a writing book or anything.
Sure.
So I don't deepen myself to all the terms and in the grammar. The grammar. I don't go to the very important, very deepen about it. But all I needed to know is that I have to use building the sentence with the correct grammars and taking the message that I want. For example, I want to say like this. I want to go to visit my family, but somehow I don't have always enough money.
Mm.
So in the conversation language, we say, halasin kulaman na mo, sukulasan lang mo tamula ay koskara. It sounds good, right?
Uh-huh.
But if I want to write that well, haluaisin käydä sukulaiseni luona
Yeah.
ja kyläillä, mutta mun talous ei ole kovin
Right.
vahva.
Right.
There are, you just get bang, 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 layora.
Right.
That's all.
It just
But,
communicates your
yeah,
idea.
it's just like it's a conversation quick, very, very clear. what
Right.
it is.
Yeah.
But Montalos is my economy. That's doing the whole things of my income and. But it's also almost the same, but at least much more clear.
Yeah. But I have a similar thing with the grammar that's like, I just wanted to be able to get my point across.
Yeah.
So I don't see a need to study the grammar so much and also the writing.
As long as that you don't mean you're going to write, but when you are starting to write,
Yeah.
you need to understand every word what you are.
No, right. Yeah. Yeah. But then in my case, I also got lucky that like ChatGPT came and then I would just write
It's helping you.
and then I just tell it to correct it for me, which it doesn't help me get better, but I don't, yeah, it's a whole other thing. Yeah. So what observations have you made about other people learning?
I think they have to. This is my advice to everyone who desire to learn language, especially Finnish.
Mm.
Forget that you speak English. Let it become the helper for you to explain what do you mean.
Right.
But don't go. That's the basic that you want to hear, and then you learn that Finnish by reading every small stuff, and then listen to the radio. So you can always learning and listening at the same time.
Mm.
But don't take it like a burden. You must wanting it.
Right.
If you don't want it,
Yeah.
On the whole of your system will say this is not important.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
You must really, really meant it. You will get it.
Yeah. It's not impossible though. For
Yeah,
sure.
it's not impossible.
Yeah.
It's the only thing that you start to be feeling, I'm not sure people will think I'm stupid. No, not at all.
Yeah. That's actually one that I struggled with because humble brag, but I was quite for longest time being good at school stuff. So when I forced myself to switch to Finnish, and I was like, people don't think I'm so stupid. Especially because in my case, my pronunciation for Finnish was very good. So it sounds like you're supposed to know how to speak it.
Mhm.
But then
I know how to speak.
but then you don't.
I have been there, so but I'm never going to be a Finnish speaking as fluent as Finnish.
Right.
I will always every 6 to 10 sentences, I will have 1 or 2 mistakes. But that's fine.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I know I will never become Finnish.
Right.
There was time in my life saying that I will never speak this language. But here I am.
Yeah. I'm very proud of you, like how you've gone through the whole thing. And it's like so remarkable because back then we don't have the resources that we have
Not at
now.
all.
And
No English.
yeah. And it's insane how you've been able to overcome everything. And
It's
like,
difficult. But yeah, when you decided to come to this is something that I would like always to say to every immigrant, wherever you go. When you decided to go to that country, go. All the challenges with that is always in the package.
Mm.
You know?
Yeah.
Don't mistaken yourself with the decision that you make, and then you wanna be cherry picking things.
Right.
No.
Right.
It's an impossible theory.
Yeah. Are there any surprising or unconventional things that you did that other people might not think of to try?
I remember I tried to write essay.
Okay.
And then Finnish who read that essay. Must be English speaking person who write this essay because the essay,
Yeah.
the objective of every subject can be all upside down.
Right. Yeah.
You know, the Finnish language is always like sometimes it's coming first the object,
Yeah.
the objective before the subjects come along. And
Right.
then all the predicate and all the explanation of the explanation in English is much more like that. But in Finnish language, let's say when you want to show the direction.
Mm.
In English, they say, you walk 100 meters, a bit in the corner, you turn left.
Mm.
And from the left, there will be a roundabout, and then you get out to the second exit.
Mm.
That's what you said in English. Right? But in Finnish, and then you say, kun sä kävelet suoraan, seuraava kulmassa, käännyt vasemmalle, sitten se tulee ympyrä. Ympyrästä sä käännyt vähän oikealle ja sitten that you don't get the English, the Finnish fully, you know?
Right.
Then you will say like, sitten sä käännyt oikealla puolelle suuntaan ja sitten vähän sen sitten eteen vasemmalle.
Right. That's when it just
Because,
translates.
yeah, because you translate that almost like,
Yeah.
but of course, wherever you're in the world, when you try to show the direction, the one that when you don't fluent, you will explain it very difficult.
Right. Yeah. Actually, yeah.
I know
Kids are-
I have seen so many people having trouble to show the direction,
Right.
especially the direction having 2, 3, third.
Mm. Right.
Anyway, so essay and the direction, that was the very funny way of experience for me.
Right.
And I realized, I must get that really clear so I can be giving a good direction sometimes to other
Right.
people.
So you focus on like everyday writing and then also like being able to give directions
Yeah.
properly.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Especially official letters when you have some problem.
Yeah.
For example, in the past when I was still depending to the welfare system, I have to explain things. This explanation must be correct. Not too much explanation. You must go straight.
Yeah. Yeah.
I have the need of this because this is the situation this is the amount that I have by myself. So that's why I need help. So you don't have to make so much drama story.
I find myself, especially back home, that to explain something that takes only 5 words, I have this thing where I would explain it in 15 words or 20 because I don't have the correct short words to use. But yeah.
It's very, especially Finnish, in the Finnish system, they are not with feeling reading things. They are reading with facts. And they will check. Of course, they will verify all your information. So that's why no need to. I learned that after many years in the first year, I was writing because of this da.
Yeah.
I really in the difficulties because of this. I have so much things that you know. It's nothing.
Yeah.
It's not making any difference.
Right.
If it is wrong, then it's wrong.
Yeah. Okay, so with the surprising things or unconventional things was essay writing and then focus on how to give directions well and as close to native as possible. What are like passive things that you did that are like, by that question, I mean things that you have already set up or they happen to be in a certain kind of way and that helped you?
Yeah. For example, when I am with the academic people, they have this certain level of language, terminology, what they use.
Yeah.
Then my Finnish language increase the quality, the terminology. It's much more clear. If it was only like people, let's say I'm only with the restaurant people working, then my language is depend to what they are talking. That's the level of the language that I will continue. But then when I have friends who are academic, like customer who are academic positions, and they are as maybe as a lecturer or as a teacher or as a professor or anything. The communication increased my ear, and then listening to the debate of the politic debate, and then economic
Conversation.
conversation.
Yeah.
It's increased my my memories about that. This is the terminology that is correctly being used.
Right.
Something
Right.
like
Yeah.
that. So I never stopped to learn,
Right.
even to this.
And okay, so basically, when you are around certain people that helped you,
Increased my
yeah, like it kind of expands your
expanding
your
my
knowledge of the Finnish. In your case, you had to go to work, and your workplace was in Finnish.
in different places. Yeah, some offices, some university.
Right.
Yeah,
And I think most of them were in Finnish.
yeah,
Work,
Finnish
yeah.
language.
Yeah. So you didn't have to do anything to make that happen.
No.
You just showed up to work.
Yeah.
And that, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's already one passive thing. And then what about, did you like, I don't know, set all your phone things to be in Finnish or like kids'
Yes.
hobbies or something like that?
I actually, when
Personal
I
things.
make some, let's say I'm doing this pop-up, like a festival pop-up, we are selling food. So
Uh-huh.
I have to make a report to the health department.
Okay.
Somehow I cannot get it well when I write, when I put that into English.
Uh-huh.
I realize it many, many years now. When I return to, I want to teach someone, then going to English, I don't get this one. I must change it to fit.
Right. So when you apply for the
Like a registering.
Yeah.
Okay, we are now selling, we are going to sell food,
Yeah.
at, let's say a global village or some festival.
Yeah.
Then I have to inform to that we are going to sell that, something like that. But when I cannot feel it in English version,
Right.
because all the words completely different that I wanted to understand. Then the one that is in Finnish somehow, when it's translated to English, I understand it become completely separate,
Okay.
completely different.
Okay.
Maybe because I have been in the restaurant work, so all of them are, for me, is much more natural in Finnish. Because I
Right.
have been doing it. What it said in Finnish language, I know exactly what it meant. Something like that.
I get that every now and then.
Yeah.
Sometimes there's a word I want to say,
Yeah.
and I only know it in Finnish. I don't know. It doesn't really.
For example, oma valvonta.
Right.
Oma valvonta is the words of the passport of the restaurant.
Yeah.
So in the English, it said? Hygiene supervision.
Yeah. Something like that. Yeah.
It's too weak for hygiene supervision. Oma valvonta, we know what is the stuff that we have to do there.
But so, essentially, was it like with this kind of forms that you had to fill or like pass on
Official papers, I want to always fill it in
in
Finnish.
And but in the case of the pop-up, was it like if you don't do it in Finnish, it doesn't come out very well?
I cannot explain myself better.
Okay, because you happen to know the words in
Yeah.
Finnish. Okay.
Yes. I can explain to other in English.
Yeah.
But when it is official, I don't want to write that in English.
Okay. So it's like basically any kind of bureaucracy you had tried to handle in Finnish and you had to go to work.
Yes.
There's another passive thing that reinforced your Finnish language.
Yes.
learning. And then what about like hobbies or I don't know, the kids things, hobbies or things that the kid had to go to and you had to maybe interact with other parents? Are there any other kind of things that it was like you're doing something anyways, but then it just happens to also help the Finnish?
Well, in time when the children were little,
Yeah.
especially my boys, this is just a little bit backwards.
Sure.
They were like, Mom, nobody understand our language. We must speak only Finn. Okay? Okay. And then they forgot my mother tongue.
Oh no.
Yeah. I have sacrificed a lot to get this. And then they even changed. Nobody call Mama here, Mama. We have to call you Anita. And I was like, Daddy enjoys my sweet name. I said, Mama, That was gone when they were like 7 and 8.
Yeah. Oh,
So since then, it was happened like 28 years ago
yeah.
when they changed. Children, you kids, you want to be like everybody.
Everyone else, yeah. But then we don't realize that the thought is being different.
It was a support help to my children. And then I could not be any help though in the beginning of the school of my children very much because I cannot, maybe the only thing that I can help is mathematics. Every other thing else.
Yeah. It requires language.
The reading must be like this.
Yeah.
The history must be like
100% down.
Yeah. Yeah, I could not be any help to my children until they were 16, 17.
Okay.
Yeah.
When I was growing up in Ghana, we used to have, because you mentioned radio, my grandma's house, we always had the radio on, like always had the radio on. So even now, I can't, it's so hard for me to just be in silence. So is that one of the things, what do you also have the habit of just always having the radio on in the background?
No.
Or
Radio is only in the time of I want to listen.
Okay.
Let's say like a TV, you cannot watch TV all day. You know. The radio for me is the same. You cannot listen to radio all day.
Okay.
But only the time that, okay, this is too quiet. That's
then put something. Yeah. When I was growing up, we had the radio on all the time. It was, but it helped a lot with my Chi and then also with my English as well. Because you hear a lot of things that I hear a lot of things that I wouldn't be discussing with my grandmother or at school. So if they're talking about, I don't know, judiciary, that's a word that if I'm not reading from a book, I'm not necessarily going to get from school. So it helps with the vocabulary, I suppose. Okay, so with the passive or the children, speaking with the children, the bureaucracy, that sort of thing, I forgot.
Okay, with the, with the people around my work.
Work. Yeah. And then what are the active things that you do? Like the ones that you'll like deliberately, I'm going to go do this specifically so that I can learn Finnish. Do you have a study routine, speaking habits, etc.? Yeah.
Well, in my household, we're speaking Finnish.
Right.
We don't speak English. English is only coming after my son having wife because she does not speak Finnish yet. But she will
similar
be,
situation as you.
Yeah. But she will be one day. She will. So we, in our family chat group, often we are in Finnish. So, but then we started to think that maybe it's good also in English now and then.
Okay. So now you're talking about like now.
Now, these days, yeah.
But then back then, it used to be more of, it happened. It wasn't like a deliberate choice. It just kind of happened back in the day.
Officially, every working week, I have this switch on. Finish.
Yeah.
Now it's finished.
Just
after work, switch off. Now it's English.
Right.
So, the sign of that, that now I don't speak. I don't remember everything.
In English?
In Finnish.
Okay.
See?
Yeah.
When it switches on, I will be completely, my mode is finished.
Yeah.
No English coming. But when I am in Finnish working, I am not at work. I'm in my free time.
Yeah.
And then I neglect everything but Finnish. And then I started to speak English.
Right.
And then, but Finnish language are very strong. It's always penetrated.
Yeah.
It's very strong.
Okay, so family chat, that's one active thing you do. Was there anything that you did actively?
I'm reading book. Finnish book.
Okay.
I read one novel like this, Remes.
Wow. Okay.
The name is Remes. I read that. I got so much of the building like sentences ability through it.
Right. And it's not easy Finnish. It's not selkosuomi.
No, it's
just
literature book.
Okay.
They are not writing it with conversation language.
Yeah. Which year was this?
I think in 2000, between 2005, I'm already reading.
Books. That's like your year 8, year 9, I think.
Yeah.
But then before that, like how did you get
I always using that radio listening, TV listening, people, the discussion, and
newspapers. And then also you were speaking to people.
And then I am, of course, applying it, implementing it.
In work.
In the working day.
And how long were you in like courses? How many
I
years?
don't have any other courses but that integration course.
So 6 months. Like, that's all.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Because this is very important.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of people just rely on courses
They have to make an effort outside of
the course as well. Yeah. It's important, the course, but I
Yeah.
think people have this kind of, when I was explaining how I did it, I was telling how it's not like biology or I don't know, history, where if you go to the class enough times and you pay attention, you will learn enough to do something to pass the exam.
Yeah.
At least with that one, the goal is to pass the exam, right? But here, the goal is to be able to speak in a way that
Yeah,
it just
that is
comes fluent.
speaking and making that people understand what you are saying.
Yeah. So just go
And
to
you understand by yourself too.
Yeah.
You understand.
Yeah.
Let's say when you want to say, well, I don't like this room because this room is looks like too much black. And
Mm,
how can you say that if you don't get the right words for that, in another language? You will only say, mostly people only just use, I don't like that room.
yeah.
No details.
Yeah.
The purpose of that we speak, that we can make the other people understand what we see, what we feel, what we think.
Yeah.
That's the purpose. That is good to practice them, to say it until. But if nobody you talk with, you can never develop. You always have to. For example, in church, now and then I always speak the Finns with our people.
Yeah.
And then they will reply me back. I really meant it, to speak that they reply me back
Infinite.
in Finnish.
Okay.
I think it is good to continue doing it, in my opinion, because I want my brothers, my sisters to, that they got it. They
Yeah.
got it that this is not always, this is only the area of free of speech, free of Finns language.
Right.
Not like that. That we really have to take it like it is part of us, wherever we go.
Mm.
It's good that we speak always like clearly with English, but it's also is good that we can say maybe not always like very serious things. For example, no niin, mitä oliko kiva tänään? Mitä te syötte? Onko se tällä omaa suunnitelmaa? Things like that. Looks like a simple things, but to get that I say that, I think my sister, they will understand that. Okay, that's the way to say it.
Right.
Now I know.
Right. Yeah.
I can say, joo, mulla on lomaa. Ensi viikolla mulla on lomaa.
Yeah. And they
That's
get to
American
practice.
spirit.
Yeah.
It is like something get their ears, because their ears is always memorizing into our brain.
Yeah. Okay. What conscious changes did you make in your life that like made it easier to practice than to not practice? I mean, like when you were learning.
Yeah, when I was learning, the only enemy of my learning is I'm tired, because my brain keep on thinking.
Yes.
That's the only delaying me to be much more advanced,
Right.
because I'm tired. So it's mental things.
Yeah.
So it's nothing to do with that whether you like it or not. That's actually the case. So if I wanted to be able to be advanced,
Yeah.
I must not be stopped because of I'm tired. I will be just resting for a bit. Okay. All right now, I just don't want to think in fear.
Yeah.
So it's just you give your time, like time out for a bit, and then go back. Like,
Right. So
Yeah.
you gave yourself time to kind of rest in
Yes.
order to be able to keep
Yes.
going. Okay.
because when you keep pressing on yourself,
Yeah.
it's natural that your body continually become stressed, and then you will not become much more better when you're stressed.
Okay.
Give her your time out, then go back again. So when you feel stressed again.
So
Continue
mental rest.
to continue these days. Even ChatGPT can help you, but try to write it. If you want to use ChatGPT, try to say that in Finns, and then ChatGPT
Reply.
translate that to Finns to English, and you
No.
see, are you saying that right?
Okay. Okay.
So I think these days the technology can help you another way around. Try the Finnish language, and let the ChatGPT write it to you in English.
So when you ask it the question, ask
Yeah.
in Finnish, but let it respond to you in English.
Let's say, translate what I'm saying to English. Let's say you say like that.
Okay.
But you say like that, mä haluaisin lukea mun kirjaa, mutta mulla ei ole aikaa. Ja yhtäkkiä mun kaveri tulee
Right.
kylään ja mä en jaksa. For example.
Right.
And then
Tell it to
let-
translate
let-
to you.
let it, do you know, you already understand what you are saying, right? In Finnish.
Mm.
Will it correct by the ChatGPT? That's meaning you are already saying it right.
Okay. Okay.
So you're testing your language.
Yeah.
Your ability.
Yeah. Okay.
I think that's what I do also.
Okay. So with the conscious things that you did to help was like to rest, like mental
Give your
rest.
time.
Yeah.
Give your time out.
What else? Because usually, like humans have this thing where, like water flows where it's easiest to flow, right? So, are there any things that you did that would prevent you from not practicing, like back in the first 5 years? especially?
Yeah. I think when I meet so many friends who always speak English
Mm.
and they don't want to use Finnish language.
Yeah.
I think that's something that back then, sometimes I like it, but then sometimes I know this is not helping me.
Yeah.
And the other thing else is listening to, the native or Finnish people.
Sure.
They have all something like always 1 word, 2 words, 3 words, 5 words. You never heard that.
I'm always so
And then I was like, especially when they say proverb things
yeah.
in Finnish language.
I'm always so confused.
Back then I didn't, and then when I understood Finnish language, oh, that is so much like in my country. They have the same words. Something
right.
like that.
Right.
So that's ignite my interest continue.
Okay. Yeah.
But plus negative things always around you. But
No. And one thing I've also realized is integration is a big factor. Like how well the person has gotten themselves into Finnish society. So I notice a lot of not necessarily my friends, but a lot of people, when they come from some country, they hang out or only spend time with people from that same country. And I don't think that really helps in learning the language. How did you integrate yourself into Finland in that culture, in that way?
the first 5 years, I don't have any Indonesian that I can be leaning on,
Yeah.
I was completely alone, I have broken marriage back then. Yeah. I think something also personal that you lose trust to anyone.
Yeah.
Especially there is this common mind about, I could be wrong already back then, but that's what I thought back then, that I am now having a broken marriage. I shouldn't be talking anything about my life with anyone. So, plus, there is no community that I am already included or I built the trust together.
Yeah.
No. Second, having personal life, which is you don't want to be bragging anything about it. And the third, that I must make it by my own. That 3 things was keeping me in the integration time. I have to make this language, Finnish language learning, worthwhile.
Right.
Because I want to build friendship not because I'm clinging in, but because there is the same interest, like friendship, group of people. And mostly my friend was all Finns.
Right.
I mean, thank God that I'm a very social person. I told you in the beginning, even though I don't speak Finnish very well, but I tried my all. And then people accepted me. I think one thing that I learned about the native Finns, when you are genuine, you are not hostile in your characters, they are very easy to become friends. They don't isolate. Sometimes we can become a meeting oftentimes.
I feel like that's a bit different to what I've heard, but is it because maybe the times have kind of maybe changed a bit?
Growth.
Okay.
I think it is from the 28 years ago
Yeah.
to 25 years ago. I think so much changed during the last 18, 15 years.
Yeah.
So much.
Yeah. Because what I've heard is that like, and I wouldn't have experienced it because I have friends here already. I've heard that especially people in like Helsinki, they already have their friends and they're not looking to make new friends outside of that. But I guess you have a different experience from that. Yeah.
Yeah. In my experience, I can be friend with all of kind of different people.
Yeah.
Finns, all and other international.
But there's more like Finnish people don't usually take, at least nowadays, it seems, from what I've heard, that Finnish people are not taking new people into their friend groups necessarily.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
They don't take, but when you meet in the personal level,
Yeah.
for example, you are at work, you are working, right?
Mhm.
People don't make friends in the work. Only in time of that you have time for personal talk.
Right.
That's the moment of time thinking. We'll be able to go spending time for a weekend in the cottage or anything like that.
Yeah.
That's the place, the time that you can know you become friends.
Yeah.
All my friends, women and men,
Yeah.
all of these 25, I have been working now 28.
Yeah.
No, wait a minute. 1990, 26 years I have been working. All of the friends that I have been making friends all of these 26 years, they are still talking with me with the warm,
Wow.
all Finns.
Wow. Okay.
So it's only because of time and busyness that
Yeah.
we cannot, life situation change, that we cannot be meeting so often.
Yeah.
But if there is like a reunion, let's reunion. I think we will meet and we will be so happy. And all
Yeah.
of them have become like the friend that I will always remember warm.
Yeah.
The way they also think about me. That's what I
Right.
think.
That's a really positive thing. Yeah.
And that's true, you know.
Yeah. Okay. So in your case, then it was basically, yeah, you didn't really know anyone here. So pretty much everyone you got to know.
Yeah, I open myself to them.
Yeah.
They become open up to me too. They become friends with me.
Right.
So the community that I created together with them
Right.
through works.
Okay. And from your experience, when people don't like succeed at learning Finnish, what would you, from your outside experience, what would you say is usually the reason for that?
They are prejudiced to themselves too much, you know.
Oh, okay.
They're really, I sound so bad, one. And the two is so difficult. The three, nobody understands me. So everything is actually subjective.
Right.
Too much subjective appreciation.
Right. Okay. So yeah, the like, oh, it's too hard.
Then you sounded very bad.
Yeah.
You sounded stupid or something
Yeah.
like that. The second, and then it's very hard to learn this language. Because, like I said, if you keep on thinking the way your own mother tongue or your English, that is become triple difficult.
Yeah.
You must remember, you are learning another people, another nation language. It is meant to be that you don't understand completely at once in the short time.
If only you could just press a button and
No,
download the
no.
language.
Every process, if you want, these days you can have ChatGPT and then you say in English and then now you don't have to learn so much. But if you want to keep it by yourself,
Yeah.
then you can continue without gadget.
Yeah.
Then you have to let yourself swimming and immersing in it.
Yeah. Okay. What did you do that others don't? Because considering the fact that a lot of people get to the lower B level, then they write the IKI test and maybe they get a job and then they stop learning more.
Exactly.
Yeah. So what did you do that others don't?
What I do is that once I get this Finnish language ability in my mind and in my heart, I continue using it.
Continue.
I don't stop.
Yeah.
I will be talking to everywhere,
Yeah.
the shop, to the people, to the bus, to
Right.
always in Finnish.
Right.
I don't use English. I will only using English to those my friend who does not speaking
Finnish.
Finnish.
Okay. And that's a
So-
conscious effort.
And it's conscious effort.
Yeah. Okay.
So you don't have to brag in your English
Yeah.
because you already have it.
Right. Yeah.
That's I think what I do and other people don't.
We're almost at the end now. So there are 6 parts to learning a language. If there's more, I've not looked too deep into it. But yeah, I just think of the 6 parts for me at least. And it's like vocabulary, speaking, listening, grammar, reading, and then writing.
Or
So I'll just quickly go through them. I just list them, and then you just say what things you did to
Mhm.
improve on that part.
Mhm.
Okay. So let's start with vocabulary.
vocabulary is by continue reading what is what.
Mm.
Like first thing is the daily thing. What do you do in the daily? Like daily life.
Yeah.
From morning to the evening. What stuff? And then you remember all of that, all of that vocabulary, especially objective. And then vocabulary of the word you come from your hearts, Like, for example, you want to tell us something.
Mhm.
It's different to the daily life things,
Mhm.
You can feel like, I really miss my childhood. That is not a daily thing, right?
Right.
But you have it in your heart. Oh, I want to pray. I love very much to go to church and keeps me peaceful.
Right.
These kind of things, you have to have vocabulary to understand.
Yeah.
And
So basically, what you're saying is like that these things are places where you picked up the new words from. Okay. And when you picked up the new words, how did you like memorize them?
like, for example, I love the words of praising and worship God,
Yeah.
So in my past, before I become walking with faith Christians, I find out, really wow, what a word, That's not everyday words.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah. Those are not
Really
everyday words.
Ylistan Jumalaa, rakastan Jeesusta. Wow, palvoan Jeesus.
Yeah.
Jumala on niin ihana. This is coming from you
Very
seek for that.
Yeah. Very specific
Intentionally.
area. Yeah. Okay.
So the daily things, you will keep using that every day.
Yeah.
That vocabulary will be never forgotten.
Right.
So if you like, for example, food, you also need to learn the vocabulary of that. What is so delicious?
Right.
Coolest stuff.
So in these situations, is it like from the literature that it comes with, or from like going to check from the dictionary?
And something that you are very interesting.
Yeah.
Try it, and then every part, every objective that you are interested.
Yeah.
Find that vocabulary and
But is it like, are you finding the words from like the dictionary, or from, I guess, from church things from the Bible, I suppose?
from the Bible, then I go to find the
dictionary. But then for like food related things,
food, and then I go from the restaurant and go to the dictionary.
Okay, so you hear it, then you go to
And then
Okay,
thinking,
that was
okay, what does that mean?
and then, well, speaking. I mean, I think that one you've already said that you worked. You spoke to people and
I communicate in Finnish.
finish. Yeah. So I'm talking specifically about when you were learning.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, how did you get the speaking practice in?
Speaking practice, I keep talking with people.
Yeah.
Even though it was not perfect.
Yeah. Okay.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It will. I said to myself, one day I will be so good that there is nothing anymore that nobody will correct me anymore.
Right. Right. Same as well. Yeah. What about this listening? I'm guessing, well, it's the same.
I'm listening. I told you, radio, TV, and people talking.
And then grammar.
Grammar is very important for me to understand why it is. Maybe I don't know the specific terminology, but I know what is that meant to do. Like when you use the Finnish language, VA at the last and the SSA in the last. What is that? When you add, everything is be the same. That add the same, like a menna, mentava,
Yeah.
mennesta. That will never go menna.
Right.
It will never go mentava.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
always like that's the kind of the I don't always remember what is that mean in the grammatical terminology for that, but I understand to use it.
Right. But then the main question there on that one was like, how did you learn it?
Yeah, by observing when people talk about, let's say they talk about economy, I try to find that, oh yeah, that's exactly what it is,
Right.
So I make the observation and I make the application and implement it.
Okay. So just by listening to how maybe there's talos, talota, and then things like that, then you just, okay, so it's the
Yeah,
same
from
word.
talo, then
Yeah.
so there are three things and where it is implemented
How, okay.
and how to apply.
Okay.
Something like that.
Okay. And then with reading, you mentioned about newspapers and books, ilkaremes,
Yeah.
and what else?
I am also listening to, to preaching, Finnish preaching.
And then the last one of these 6 is writing. How did you practice writing?
Well, I have not changed very much since time that I was learning. And this is who write this is must be not native speaking Finnish person. Yeah, I think I'm still in there.
My writing is terrible.
Yeah, I still writing like 80% sounding Finns, but the other 20% still mixed up in there between.
Right.
But it's okay. I think until now, already 25 years that I have been dealing direct with the official. They have never complained that they don't understand.
Hey, that's a big positive.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a big positive.
When it is something official thing,
Yeah.
when they understood and I got the answer,
I'm happy.
everything fine.
I'm happy. Yeah. That's good. So can you tell me about like the times when you found it like most difficult to continue chasing the Finnish?
I think right now my challenge is I would like to elevate my Finnish level.
Yeah.
It's meaning that I can speak, I can understand when people speaking something like just normal social situation.
Yeah.
But not anymore with just simple vocabularies and the terms. But it's become more significant and more directed. Some people will tell comprehensive, and then some people will say like all, See, 2 different things, right? When you say comprehensive, meaning I get it, When you call like a comprehensive, that's mean you understand deeply and all the detail in it. That's why it's comprehend. But when you say, I get it, you don't know what's the level of that understand. You just get it. So it can be the level 2 if it is 5 level. Can be also just the level 3. But you can never get it into detail through the words that is chosen.
Yeah.
You can never get completely clear. Let's say you're talking about the cleaning ability.
Yeah.
The other one experience and the other one capable. So sometimes you cannot see the difference, right?
Right.
The one who does that with experience and the other one who are capable. Why they are not using is very much experience. But the other one capable. Capable meaning is much more, it can tackle the situation of that works.
Yeah.
That's capable. Experience meaning knows how to go with it.
Yeah. Okay.
So to see, there is a detail there.
Yeah.
That's the words that I want to finish language.
That's the level that you want
the
to.
The level I want that it is detailed, it's direct. It's intentional direction to every words that is used.
And that's like a level that you want to get to.
I want to. I still continue learning.
Like, of course, that's important. In the first 5 years, what were the times that you found it difficult to continue? In the first, like, let's say 5-7 years?
Probably to read well, to read and pronounce it well.
Yeah.
You know what to say in my English or Indonesian language? It's very difficult to use the diphthong e, ko, oi, keo.
Right.
Oi, keo. Your mouth has to be really more. Oi, keo.
Yeah.
I have a difficulty.
To move.
Kirjailija,
Right.
kirjailijoita. Ah,
Right.
well, that was a need. This diphthong, Finnish diphthong, they
Yeah.
are so deep.
Right. So you had issues with the
You
pronunciation.
have to, pronunciation like, okay, and is so easy.
Mm.
But when this diphthong part is very deep. That's I think my challenge before in Finnish language. This all diphthong part of the Finnish words. Kirjailija,
Right.
kirjailijoita, tarjoilijoita. Wow. You have to say that slowly, that you said it correct.
Yeah.
Oikeus asianajaja. You see, that's the level of the language that when you start going up, don't use anymore
The simple stuff.
simple stuff anymore.
Okay, so you really struggle with the pronouncing part of things.
Yeah, but I'm getting better.
Yeah.
I just have to remember, say it slowly.
So, okay. What other times do you remember any like specific kind of things in times where you found some difficulty with learning?
When I'm communicating with the customer, like that. So
In the early years, in the
I
first
think
like
even sometime this day,
okay,
I have to think how can I put it? Because it's not natural thing.
right, yeah,
You cannot just say, "Ano tabahan? Matuloy na isto kaya matuan ko ta, masalitan teile." You know, the
Yeah.
waiters is always have to explain if you don't explain very well, they will understand wrong.
Right.
That's not good things.
right, yeah,
So I keep continue develop myself about in communicating what I want to say, specifically when it is about food,
Yeah.
when it is about service, when it is about the whole operational,
yeah,
things like.
right, okay. And what words of encouragement can you give to anyone who's feeling like I'm tired of this?
Don't learn Finnish language by thinking I can get it quickly. 1, 2, intentional. Take it intentional that you want to learn. It will come to pass, but it will take your effort. Effort is meaning that sometimes you need to make time to learn about it, maybe in a day, 2 hours, but full focus. And then meet your friend who speak Finnish and apply, implement the one that you already get. If you don't, you will find out that it is not correct because Finns usually will tell,
Yeah,
what do you mean? They will get the direct correction without that they feel that you are stupid.
right, yeah. That's
My encouragement.
okay.
Don't be ashamed.
Yeah. And I think this can be like the last question.
Mm.
How has your life become better now that you live in a country where you speak the language?
Yeah. Globally, this language is one of the most little user in the world.
Mm.
I think I am I'm proud of myself that I speak with this language and I don't want to forget it.
Yeah.
I think in the next 10, 20 years, much more little because Finns not growing very much. So,
Yeah. No one's having kids.
and the children are not so many. So
Yeah.
even if they are coming, I hope my children and grandchildren will continue this language. And as long as I live, I don't want to forget this language. That is the second thing. I feel already this country already my second home.
Yeah. How do you feel like your life has improved now that you live like Finland where you don't speak the language versus Finland where you speak the language? How do you feel like your life has improved?
I think the improvement is that I can communicate with everyone.
Mm.
That's the best part of it. Because Finland has been always supporting their residents and their people.
Mm.
So I can develop myself.
Mm.
There is nobody say, you cannot do this. No, the
Yeah.
only stopping you that you don't want to do it.
Right.
You
Right.
can always do everything as long as that you don't like wasted
Yeah.
things. You wasted time, you wasted money,
Yeah.
and then you don't bear fruit with what you.
How has it like affected also like your employment kind of opportunities and stuff?
Well, since I have with having my personal reason, that's why I don't go with the career oriented,
Okay.
because I don't really seeking for making like a developed career.
Hmm.
At the beginning, it was like for fun.
Yeah.
And then when the children grown up,
Yeah.
I become believer that I don't want anymore. I'm not very ambitious anymore.
Right. Right.
So I was still good.
Yeah.
Everything's still fine.
But and how about like in terms of with family? Has it improved family life now that you speak Finnish?
I think with my children, yes. Even with my previous extended family,
Yeah.
we still it's good because I can clearly communicate with them
Mm.
very well,
Okay.
and they understand me,
Okay.
and I understand them.
Sounds good. Sounds good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think this is the last of my like topic-based questions.
All
I
right.
think this was already quite.
Thank you for watching or listening to this episode of How I Learned Finnish with Ohe. Tune in for the next episode where we will have another very exciting guest with a totally new background, different life stories, circumstances, obstacles, and most importantly, their own unique and creative way of achieving fluency in the Finnish language. Cheers.